All right, welcome back to another episode of the Depression Clown Podcast. This is episode 2. First one's finally done. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm not doing too bad, Aaron. How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Excellent. So if you're cool with it, I'd like to start talking about being prepared. Because given how the first podcast went, we were not prepared at all. I correct me if I'm wrong. I think we both went into it like, oh, this is gonna be super easy. Like the internet is full of just two idiots with a microphone, and then we became those two idiots with a microphone, and we didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I sat down thinking I could just talk and realized that I didn't prepare anything and that nothing came out. I froze, and you really didn't.
No, not externally. It's a lesson that I picked up at my old job. I worked with a guy named D.C.P. Great guy, phenomenal guy. He's actually got an auto glass shop. Here you go, Dave. Here's a free plug if you ever hear this. D-Mac Auto Glass, super personal guy, great guy. He mentored me for a couple of years.
Oh, nice.
And when I first started the job, I was nervous. I mean, I'm always nervous. It's just my regular predisposition. But yeah, I was nervous, and stuff that would happen at the plant that was out of my control. Like something would break down, something would stop working, and I'd get worked up thinking it was my fault. And some of the best advice that I ever got from Dave was you can't show it. Because in the position that we're in, you're in charge. You're the leader. You have people following you. So the moment you start to crack, the moment that you start to break and people see that, morale is going to drop. So I learned over time, as uncomfortable as I am, and it's not that I don't have those feelings, I absolutely do. I'm constantly screaming inside, like at the top of my lungs, but I can't show it. So what I do to remedy that is I get home and I just take it out on my cat because I'm totally kidding. We here at the Depression Clown Podcast do not promote or condone animal abuse unless it's sushi. Fuck you, sushi. But
He's a good cat.
There's a story we can get into that I really don't think we should at Thorndale, or it wasn't at Thorndale, it was back Eddie, if you remember that, Aaron. Because I sure as hell don't. We're going to leave that at that. To those that were there, I'm sorry. And moving forward. So, yeah, I think a good place for us to start here is just being prepared. Being prepared for your day. Being prepared for events that could occur. Like, you don't really have future sight or anything. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Life is pure chaos. Yeah. Even at the best of times when we have control, we really don't have control. So with that, I'd like to open up with a question. How do you prepare for your day, Aaron?
How do I prepare for my day? Oh, geez, I think I go to bed every night kind of not really thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow. I know the points of my day, but when I wake up in the morning, I think my first thought is, how am I feeling? Is it like a good day or a bad day? And then my preparedness comes based off of that. If I have something like an important meeting in the morning, I think I'll be more mentally knowing that like I'll have to just get through the first thing in my day. And then my day's kind of, the weight of it's off. And so I don't know if I really do prepare myself. I kind of just face the world as what's going to happen in my calendar is just going to hit me directly in the face. I guess is probably the way to put it.
I feel like there's a couple good points that can be made off of what you just said. Firstly, I think a good majority of regular everyday people do the exact same thing. Some, if they have like a job interview or a ceremony or something like that, to an extent they're like, okay, I have to do this, but there's no real preparedness beyond that. But what you said that I really want to touch on is you wake up and see how you're feeling. Like, is it good or is it a bad day? You can have those feelings. Like, absolutely, you're entitled to feel the way that you want, whether it's good or it's bad, or, you know, if it's just, you know, you didn't sleep very well, or you had a rough day before some traumatic event happened, or something that just upset you and it carried over into the next day. But I think in those days where things are bad, that's where it's so important to be productive and be prepared. Like, you know, we constantly tell ourselves that, you know, oh, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. You know, we'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow ends up becoming like a week or a month, or you completely forget about the task completely and it never happens. And I think part of what goes into that is we wake up like, oh man, like I feel like shit, you know, I'm not 100%. I don't want to do anything today. I get that. But at the same time, being 100% is a myth. Like, when was the last time, like, sincerely, that you were at 100%? Because for me, it was before my knees gave out, before my back gave up on life. Like, it was a long fucking time ago.
I think the day I felt at 100% was when I was small enough to ride a BMX. I remember that. I remember riding a BMX and feeling like I was in the best shape of my life. And mentally, I didn't really have many worries. And ever since then, which was in high school, it's gotten, it's like progressively your ceiling starts to lower, I guess. Yeah, is what it feels like.
You're tired and you're stressed out because life is hard. Life's a fucking challenge at the best of times. But I think as long as we tell ourselves those lies of, we'll do it tomorrow. No, don't do it tomorrow. Just do it. Just fucking write it down. Keep yourself a voice memo. We live in a world where technological advancement is absolutely insane. There's no reason why you can't have some kind of note to be like, do it tomorrow. I'm not trying to sound arrogant or conceited, because I do this shit too. I do it all the time. I'm not saying it to judge. I'm saying it to sincerely help people. It's something that I've been trying to implement in my day-to-day life, and it does help. You don't always feel great, but it's more important doing things when you feel terrible. And obviously there's a limit to this. Like, I'm not saying, you know, you could barely walk, but you're going to go to the gym and you're going to beat your PR on leg day. Like, no, that's fucking stupid. Don't do that. But, like, say, you know, your shoulder's giving you a little bit of pain, it's a little bit uncomfortable. You can do stuff, you just can't put too much weight on it. And obviously, I'm assuming, you know, you're going to the gym. This is just the easiest example that I can bring up. Just because your shoulder hurts doesn't mean you can't do cardio. Just because your shoulder hurts doesn't mean you can't do leg day. You know, there are obviously limits. Like, I deal with migraines. I can't do anything when I have a migraine. I'm a write-off. I'm done. But under normal conditions, you absolutely could. And telling yourself that you'll do it tomorrow when you feel 100%, the sad reality is you're never going to feel 100%. It's never going to happen. That's like waiting for the stars to align to ask out a girl that you like. It's not going to happen. Action cures fear. And at the end of the day, we're all afraid. We're afraid to fail. We're afraid to embarrass ourselves. Except Aaron and I, because we're recording a podcast like a bunch of fucking idiots. You have to hold yourself accountable to do these things, or you're just going to spiral. With how limited our control over what happens to us is, the one thing that we can control is how we react to situations. You're going to have a good day, you're going to have a bad day. Well, like you said, you know, you have a meeting, do what you can to get through it. Don't think of it as something that you have to get through. Don't think of it as a chore. That's a negative mindset. Think of it as an opportunity to advance yourself to a higher station.
Yeah, it's something I haven't done in my adult life. I haven't really held myself to the it's gonna suck, do it anyways type thing. I've really allowed myself to, I really hate it. I'm gonna be so uncomfortable, and then I think, like, just with anxiety a lot more as you get older, it's just a lot easier to be able to forecast the barriers of, or I guess be able to forecast how hard it is, and not be able to find the path of least resistance. I think that's more what it is. And but at the same time, you're right. That's me overanalyzing and just harping on it. And it takes up the same amount of energy to do that. But at the end of the day, the hours pass, and I haven't accomplished it. And yeah,
you feel guilty at the end of the day because
exactly.
you knew you had to do it and you didn't do it. I'm the exact same way, man. And it's a cycle, a self-fulfilling prophecy, and a vicious cycle that we do to ourselves all the time. And the only way it's going to stop is if we break it. But you can't break it if you're not aware of it, and a lot of people probably don't think about it. But like for me, I can't remember the exact number. I think it's 60, maybe 90 days to build a habit. And as small as it is, I make my bed every day. Every day I wake up and I make my bed. So my routine is I wake up at 4:30. Between 4 and 4:30, typically 4. I know, I'm an animal, built different. Literally and figuratively, I got backwards fucking thumbs. Like, I am built different. I wake up at 4. I wake up at 4:30. And another thing that I definitely encourage people to do is don't dismiss your alarm. Don't wake up and be like 5 more minutes and snooze it. Oh, that's a bad practice. It's a really bad practice. What I've started doing is I have my phone. I have that by my bed. I don't have an end table. I just have a queen mattress. Anyways. And then I have an old phone. And there's a story that I want to get into. Not on this podcast, though. We'll do it on a different podcast. There was an event that happened. A hilarious event. I'm going to leave it at that. I still have the phone from that event. It still works, but I use it as a secondary alarm. And I'll either leave it upstairs in my loft by my computer, or I'll leave it in my living room. So even if my phone goes off, and I have them set for, I think, 2 minutes apart from each other, or 3 minutes apart from each other. So even if, say, I wake up and I only slept like 2 or 3 hours, and I feel a little bit nauseous, my phone goes off, and I'm like, nope, not today, Satan, and I snooze it. 2 or 3 minutes later, I'm going to have another alarm go off, and I have to get out of bed to go turn it off. Or it's just going to keep beeping at me, and that's going to drive me crazier in the long run. So I'll get up, contemplate going to bed. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm already up. I'm up, not going back to bed. I'll go use my electric kettle, fill it up with water, boil it, go hop in the shower. Cry for a good 10 minutes, because that's what an adult male does. You do not cry in public. You cry in the shower like a fucking man, because it hides the tears, and you yourself can't even tell you're crying outside of the noises you make. It sounds like 2 grizzly bears fighting over a fucking salmon, echoing through the emptiness of the bathroom. Once you're done with that, and you collect yourself, I make my coffee.
Like a man.
Like a fucking man. You hear that, Jim Jewer? Like a fucking man. That's a whole other thing when Colton comes on the podcast, because there's a story that involves him, and I need him to verify it. Jim is Colton's dad, and phenomenal guy. I love Jim. He made a... I can't remember the context was, but he made a remark of doing something like a man. And ever since then, it's just something that I've picked up in my everyday speech. You don't do it like a fucking man. Anyways, I brew my coffee in my French press. In the 5 minutes it takes for my French press to do its thing, I make my bed and I get dressed. Then I eat breakfast. I try to get some meditation into anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. I would strongly suggest everybody, it doesn't matter when you do it or how long you do it for, just that you do it. And you do it honestly. You do it regularly. I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, but I hate New Year's resolutions with a passion. And it's not because I think there's anything inherently wrong with them. It's because everybody does them fucking wrong. Like, how many people do you know January 1st or December 31st? Like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get fucking jacked. And then it's like 3 weeks later, they give up. It's because they're not disciplined. And it's because they don't understand that consistency is a hell of a lot more important than intensity is.
Oh, yeah.
You can go as hard as you fucking want at something. As hard as your body will allow you to go. That's what she said. But if you do that once a month, you're not really going to gain anything. Whereas if you do something 3 times a month with less intensity, you're going to gain that consistency. You're going to build that pattern, and that pattern is going to become a habit.
Oh, yeah. That's what my dad tells me too, actually.
It's important. It really is. And this is stuff that I really wish I thought of when I was younger. Would have saved myself a whole hell of a lot of time, a whole hell of a lot of heartbreak. And I'm not in a bad situation by any means. My situation's fucking phenomenal. But again, not to sound like an arrogant prick, but I could have been in a better one had I just actually listened and abided by, everything that I was told, every lesson that I was taught at, 25, at 23, instead of being at 29, staring 30 dead in the face and wondering where my life went. Because 30's the end. We all know that. 30, you see the light, you're like, oh shit, it's coming.
I've been doing the same thing too. I don't know, I feel like I've been scrambling to like figure out why I've had feelings of like feeling like I need to hurry up, I guess. And it's like, I guess I'm about to turn 32. And then, yeah, that's... But, I think you're right about the consistency. Is that's what I've lacked in my like online endeavors too, is that like I feel like there's a few days throughout the month where I give it 100% of myself. But then it's like when that doesn't convert to to like 48 hours later, I start to like then beat up on myself. Well, I was prior. But you're right. It's like, well, but I had to be consistent. I had to show up all 3 days instead of just the first day with the intensity of a week. That's how it feels anyways.
It's good that you've been able to acknowledge that, though. You've acknowledged it. You can address it. You can take that as a learning experience, or it can destroy you. And it sounds like you're taking it, as I am, as a learning experience and trying to grow from it, which is the mindset that we should all have.
Yeah.
And especially with mental illness, like I get it. It's hard, but you have to find a way. I think it was Mike Tyson. I could totally be wrong. Feel free to roast me if I'm wrong. But I think it was Mike Tyson that said, you have to do something that you hate like you love it.
Oh, yeah, that was Muhammad Ali.
Was it Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
See, I'm an idiot. Go ahead, fucking spit roast me, man. Don't spit roast me, but roast me.
No, you were right, though, is that like he hated every single second of training. But he's like, I had to do it.
Yeah, and we can equate that to everyday life. We hate waking up. That came out wrong.
No, it is that simple, though. It is. Not the fact that like we wake up and are dead, but more like that we wake up and oh shit, no matter what happens, is our responsibilities of life, of existing, are there.
Yeah, and we have those responsibilities, and we have to step up to those responsibilities. Mm-hmm. Like you sink or you swim, and you have the choice. Dr. Jordan Peterson said it. Life is all about sacrifices. We don't get to choose that. It's just the nature of what life is. Oh, yeah. But what we can choose is what we sacrifice. That is 100% in our control.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Caveat to that, like if you're in some weird saw trap and some dude's like, yeah, I'm going to cut an arm off, you don't really have a choice there. You're losing an arm. Like you're pretty much fucked.
Especially in the new one. Some of those were just definitive, man.
So there are caveats to that statement, but in ordinary things and not extraordinary situations, you have control. You know, like when you go to at home, you know, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna do something productive, or are you gonna watch Netflix?
Oh yeah.
You know, like what's Netflix gonna do? It's gonna entertain you. It's a way to decompress, which I get. I actually just recently deleted or deactivated Netflix because it's like $20 a month now.
Oh yeah, I know. I did the same thing.
I use it for reruns of The Office.
Which is probably on something else too now.
Which is guaranteed is on something else. And at the certain point, like I just stopped watching it. It was background noise. But you can do that. And again, like I'm not judging anybody that does do this. I'm not calling anybody out because I've been there too. Like I think a good majority of people know now. I had a pretty severe bout with alcoholism for a good couple of years, and I don't remember a lot of it if I'm being completely honest. And it's not like I was partying or anything. It was just it was a cycle of I go to work, I hate my job, I don't like what my life is, I feel empty, I'm just going to drink to numb the pain. And it was a good 2 or 3 years of my life that I'm never going to get back. So I'm not judging anybody at all. But you can do that, or you can do something self-serving. You can do something that's going to help you. You can listen to a podcast, preferably this one. You can read a book. You can draw. You can find something that fills your soul with happiness. As corny as that sounds, do what makes you happy to an extent. Like, you have to be realistic in your goals too. Like, I don't think Aaron and I are really expecting this to be anything. It's more of just an outlet, and it's something for us to do and something for us to focus on. But pick up an instrument. You know, play the fucking piano, play guitar. Like, do something that's either going to benefit you or make you happy, or ideally both. Like, circling back to Dave Macedo, I worked with Dave at the pellet plant. The dude started up his own business, and he's killing it. He is loving life. Out of all the people that I worked with, and this is not a slight toward anybody at all, there are a lot of people that I worked with there that are like family to me. But I think out of all of us, Dave deserved this the most. He believed in himself, which is something else I wanted to touch on as well. And he went for it, and he's happy. He's doing what he loves, and he's making money, like mad money doing it.
Oh, good.
And that is the definition of the dream that we all joke about when, you know, you're asked how you doing. Oh, living the dream. No, you're fucking not. Maybe some kid in like a third world country, yeah, maybe it's their dream. It's not your dream. It's not. I think a lot of us have lost that sense of what our dreams are. I don't fucking know. I've just been coasting through life for the last couple of years. Stuff's happened, and I'm like, sounds good. Let's do it. But it's something that we should all focus on. And don't give me that you're too old bullshit. Dave's in his 40s. He's not old. He's not old. He's in his fucking prime. Yeah, I think a lot of the people that are going to be listening to this are probably going to be in their 20s or 30s. I imagine they'll be around our age group.
Yeah, probably.
You're not too old to start new. Every ending is a beginning, and every beginning is an end. Just because one door is closed for you doesn't mean every single door is closed for you. And if all those doors are closed, pick the fucking lock, learn a skill set, move forward.
Yeah, you know who actually really reminded me, like when you were talking about Dave, somebody who kind of did that to me was Callum's mom, of all people. I remember when she worked at like the courts, I think, and I don't know if you want me to like put this in this podcast, but this is something that I was thinking of, is that like I think she was like 40, 45, and she just went back to school and was like, I'm going to become a nurse now.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
To me, that was wild, because our parents' generation didn't really do that.
No.
Like, they were just concrete in where they were, and it was like, shit. And I'm assuming she's doing well with that. I don't know, but that was pretty crazy. I think Callum was doing it too, and she was really, really good at it. But
like Callum himself too. Like he's our age. Mm-hmm. His entire life got uprooted because of the COVID thing.
Oh yeah, it did.
He was a nurse. He had to stop doing what he went to school for. And even prior to that, I'm pretty sure he was looking into criminology, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
So, like, stuff happens.
Oh yeah.
But I think in saying all of this, it goes back to something you said earlier. It's self-love. It's a way of loving yourself without telling yourself that you love yourself. No, do things in service of your own being to make you happy. That's at its simplest and most pure form. We're not all going to be famous. We're not all going to be millionaires. We can't allow nihilism and cynicism to crush us. Life is finite. Go on a vacation. Punch a wall. Cry in the shower like a fucking man. Find your outlet and just have a positive outlet. Like, you've known me for a long time, Aaron. I was a very negative person there for a while.
So was I, though. I think it was one of the reasons why, like, our friend group was so close to each other for so long. Is we were all just able to be so negative around each other, and actually, I guess maybe I'd say that to all of my friends prior.
In the best way possible.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, they were good. They were good people and still are good people. But there was a lot of, we bounced negative off of each other because I think we were just in such a narcissistic place. At least I was. I don't know about anybody else, but I was. COVID is really, I don't know, it really seemed to put a break in a lot of that stuff, though. It really made everybody kind of look at, like, oh shit, realize what was important, I guess. But with the whole idea of doing something to make yourself feel good, I haven't really told I've told my fiance and stuff, but something that when I was growing up, I remember my mom told me that she just thought I would never be able to do it, and like, my mom didn't say that kind of stuff out loud too much, but I remember saying I wanted to be a singer one day, and she laughed at me because I didn't play an instrument, and was just like, that's not gonna happen. And I've made it a point of the last like 6 months to like read a book how to sing and try to like build the natural instinctive music skills and learn not like the notes, but just the whole idea of learning melodies and getting it out. And I feel like I can actually sing fairly well now.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was I don't think good enough to like stand up and perform yet, but that is something I want to do. I want to perform in public at some point.
That's a great goal to have, man. Write it out for yourself. Like, you don't write out a list, but okay, this is what I want to do. What are the steps to get there? And it sounds like you're already taking some of the steps by watching and listening to these videos. And you don't have to get anything out of it. As long as you are happy doing it and feel comfortable doing it.
Oh yeah.
Do it. Fucking full send it, man. And again, there are caveats to those things. Like, don't be doing a copious amount of coke and then going 130 down the highway. Like, that's not. You might be having fun in the moment, but I promise you, that's not going to be a good time. But within reason, you know. And I think video games too are a massive killer.
Oh yeah.
As, you know, because they allow us to escape the reality of our situations, and then we get lost in the fantasy.
Mm.
And then, you know, now we're 4 hours gone. And you're like, holy shit, where'd the time go?
Oh yeah, I had a very unhealthy addiction to NHL games.
Fucking those terrible EA games that they keep pumping out every year, comparable to that of Call of Duty. It's just a fucking palette swap, updated roster, $90. Let's fucking go. We're all dumb enough to keep buying.
Oh, I know, it was brutal. It truly was. I look back and I'm like, that's literally $500. Like, holy fuck.
But yeah, so like with this podcast, I can't remember if we touched on it last episode or not. We did do the disclaimer thing, like with the name. We're not making fun of mental health at all.
Oh right,
We're
yeah,
not.
no.
We never will. Will I make fun of people doing stupid shit? Abso-fucking-lutely. Because if you're going to be that much of an idiot, you deserve to be made fun of. Just like I expect people to make fun of me when I do and say stupid shit. And I say when, because I do it on a regular basis. I'm a fucking idiot. But was I going with that? I had a point. But anyway, yeah, self-love, man. It's a long way to... It's a long, difficult journey, but it's one we have to take. And further to that, you made a remark earlier about trying to find the path of least resistance. I understand that. I think 99.99% of the population understands that. But in finding the path where we have the least amount of adversity, in a sense, we're crippling ourselves because we're not exposing us to new experiences. We're not doing those things and learning those lessons that really do build our character and shape us as people. Oh, yeah. Now, I'm not saying find the hardest path and go down that path. That's fucking dumb. If you do that, you're an idiot. But do not shy away from adversity for the sake of comfort. Comfort does nothing for you. Makes you feel okay in the moment, but it accomplishes absolutely fucking nothing. You gotta go through those trials and tribulations. Not all of them we get to choose. Like, the butterfly effect is a thing. Every decision we make ultimately affects us down the road. Like, my last job, we hired a safety guy. I think this was a year and a half into me being there. Met Bill, talked to Bill, worked with Bill for 6 months. And then he moved on to bigger and better things because he's like, yeah, I'm kind of wasting my time. I'm not going to get into that. Not my story to tell. But never thought I was going to see Bill again. Never thought I was going to hear from Bill again. Sawmill pellet plant shut down. Lo and behold, I run into Bill. In a sense, it was a mutual friend of ours. Bill started working at a company called Kudenagel and heard I was unemployed. And now a guy that I thought I was never going to see again, that's a phone call, got me a job. Yeah, so like it's incredible. I never thought I was going to see or speak to Bill again, not because he's a bad dude. I really like Bill. Just different life paths. And here we are, like 2 years later, I have a new job and a new opportunity to advance myself because of a guy that I met.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
The ripple effect, man. Even if it doesn't show itself right away, eventually every decision we make leads to something else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we definitely know that as far as like being hockey fans and stuff. It's just like the terrain changes, man.
Subban for Weber. I still stand by that. Fuck Bergeron. Bergeron. No, fuck him too. Fucking Bruins. No, Bergevin. Yeah. Terrible GM. Weber for Subban. I stand by that. I will die on that hill.
Oh, I would have made that trade. But when I played football, I remember there was one, like, the hardest physical thing I had to do playing football was, and it was very unexpected. It was just like at the end of a practice, our coach was like, run down or sprint down the end of the field 10 times, like go down there 10 times.
Like full on sprint.
Yeah, full on sprint. And this was the best shape I was in my life. And I was about 220, and I was one of the smaller people on the team. Like, oh yeah, there was dudes 400 pounds on my football team.
Just solid muscle.
Oh, some of them they just had weight in the right place, so then you couldn't knock them over. And now that was just their job, to be big and be an obstacle. But like there was one guy on my team. His name was his name was Corey, but his nickname was Bubba because he was just so big. Crazy nice guy. And I hope if Corey hears this, he drove me to football practice every day. So great fucking dude. And he was by far the highest prospect on our team. Like, he could have played college level. I think he might have. But anyways, he was big but really, really athletic. And I remember after three laps or three like runs, he was like dying. And then at that point, I remember being like, this is going to be one of the hardest things ever. And that was the first time I threw up after physical training. And I remember being like, what? Like when it was done, I remember being like, at least now as a huge person, I know I have the physical strength or physical ability to run that much. And it never really led to much because I didn't play football too much. But that was something that I still hold on to. And that I remember thinking about that when I did my gym final, because we had to do a 12-minute run, where that if you ran for 12 minutes straight around the gym, then you got like an A+. And I remember I got an A+ because I ran for 12 minutes because I had done those laps. So it didn't lead to anything for football, but I got the best grade I could in gym because of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was intense. I also remember thinking back to that 12-minute run now and be like, how the fuck did I do that?
So, out of curiosity, when you were doing that run there and you started puking, did your coach come up to you, kneel down beside you, be like, well, did you die?
No, everyone was puking.
But did you die?
There were a few guys who were actually like in tears because they were just in so much pain.
You know why? Because they weren't running like men. They were running like boys.
We were 17, Brandon.
You're a fucking man, 17. That was the best shape I was ever in, and then everything just gave up on me at once.
It is weird, hey, how like we could play contact sports and then go out and like do random shit afterwards. If I played one game of contact sport now, I'd be out for a week. Like, holy shit.
Or like drinking too, you know. We
yeah.
drink till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, go to work for 7, and be relatively okay.
Oh, I've done that once. I've gone to work hungover once and never again. Like I worked at A&W, and I had to walk to work at 8 a.m. to then do an 8-hour shift, and it was truly the worst thing. Standing over the hot, greasy grill. Oh, that was the worst. And I've never drank before a shift before that, ever since then. Although, definitely taken a bunch of edibles and smoked a whole bunch of weed and stuff. But I have never, I have never done it drunk.
Oh shit. This is kind of unrelated to everything. Like I think a good title for episode 2 is probably self-love. I feel that's a theme that we hit a lot. I do have a really funny story. You mentioned COVID, and it made me think about it. Do you want me to do that now, or should we save that for another episode? Like, what are we at for time?
Oh, what are we at? We are at 42 minutes.
All right, so what do you figure? I'll leave it in your court.
Yeah, you can say no.
Okay, so this was at the height of COVID. I was lead hand. So for anybody listening that doesn't know what lead hand is, I was basically I don't know how to put that. I was a supervisor, but not really. Like I was in charge until my boss was around, kind of thing. Like chain of command. Like another shout out here, Nathan Bond, best boss I ever had. Nathan is one of the nicest, most genuine people. Unrelated to the story I want to tell, when I bought my house here, he was looking for something to cover. I said no because I had to meet up with the house inspector, and then eventually I did because I knew if I didn't do it, he was going to do it. So I was like, whatever. I came in like 4 o'clock in the morning, hits, shift ends at 7. I'm dying. So I text this guy a meme. And have you ever seen that meme with the dude with the white beater? He's got the hat sideways and the sunglasses. And it's like, bro, I'm straight up not having a good time. I texted that to him at 4 o'clock in the morning, expecting that, he'd see it when he woke up, laugh, and then carry on. I woke him up. And he's like, hey, I'll come relieve you. And I'm like, no, dude, like, it's all good. It's all good. Like, I was just sending a meme. He's like, no, like, I'll come. Do you want a coffee? I'm like, no, dude, like, I woke you up. I woke you up from a dead fucking sleep, and you're gonna bring me coffee? Like, dude, I know you're trying to be nice, but you're making me feel like a piece of shit. Anyway, that was a tangent story. So I'm lead hand. Nathan's not there. A guy named Chester shows up. And Chester's an older dude. I think he was a heavy drinker. That is just speculation. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not trying to disparage his character or anything. Was a heavy smoker. Super nice dude. Really nice dude. But he shows up, and he's like sweating, like profusely sweating. And I look at him and I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Oh, dude, like I'm not feeling well." I'm like, then why the fuck did you show up? Like, you're sweating, you're shaking, like you look like you have fucking COVID, Chester. What the fuck, dude? Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I might have to go." I'm like, and the last thing out of my mouth to this guy was, "Go, get the fuck out of my control room." So he leaves. I call Nathan, explain the situation to him. Pardon me. Nathan's like, "Okay." About 3 hours later, Nathan calls me. He's like, "Hey, I got good news." "Oh, what's that?" He's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna catch what Chester had." I'm like, "Oh, was he hungover?" And Nathan was like, "No, he had a heart attack."
Holy shit!
So I'm just like, I froze. I'm like, and Nathan's like, no, like, you did the right things under the condition. I'm like, "Nathan, the last thing I said to this guy was get the fuck out of my control room," and then he biked himself to the fucking hospital. like, how am I not supposed to feel fucking bad, Nathan? so we get that all sorted out. And me and Liam are just hanging out, and we had this muster sheet. We basically used it as a sign-in sheet, but it was supposed to be in the event of a fire, because my job was, we effectively ran a giant fucking bomb. That's what my job was. It was a giant fucking fireball that can go off at any minute. And anyways, that's a whole other thing. So Liam looks at this board, and he's like, "We have a nickname for everybody on here but Chester." And I said, I'm sitting there, and to anybody that's ever seen Aliens or Alien, and there's that, there's a face hugger, and then there's the fucking snake thing that comes out of their chest. I'm like, what if we call him Chest Burst? And Liam starts laughing. I'm kind of snickering, and I'm like, wait, no. Chest hurt. It rolls off the tongue so much fucking better. So Liam starts laughing. I'm laughing. He's like, "Should I write on the board?" I'm like, "Dude, abso-fucking-lutely. Like, that's his name now. Write it on the fucking board. Let's fucking go." So he writes it down, and we both just go like dead silent. And I can't remember if it was me or Liam, but one of us is like, "We probably should have found out if he was still alive before we did that." So, just as a conclusion to the story, to my knowledge, Chester is still alive.
That's good.
He got down to Vancouver. He recovered from his heart attack, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard after he recovered from his heart attack and left the hospital, he broke his leg. I don't know what happened to Chester after that. He doesn't know this story unless he somehow finds his podcast and listens to this. So Chester, from the bottom of my heart, I am sincerely sorry. Like, I don't regret the chest hurt thing, but I regret telling you to get the fuck out of my control room. I hope if you are listening to this, you can at least find the humor in it, because I did feel very guilty for a long time.
It was a great story, though.
Is that a good place to end this, if you want to keep going?
No, I think that's a good place to end it. We're not going to top that story.
Oh, just you wait, man. I've got so many stories that I can tell. Anyways, I think we're gonna leave that at that.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Aaron, is there anything you wanna add?
No, I think that's good. Just thanks for listening to the Depression Clown podcast, and we'll catch you guys next week.